The Center on Policy Initiatives, or CPI, report says San Diego County officials failed to enroll enough eligible county residents in the following three safety net programs: CalFresh, CalWORKs, and Medi-Cal, which equates to $1 billion loss to San Diego's economy. Joining me is Peter Brownell, Research Director at CPI. And Peter, $700 million sounds like a lot of missed opportunities here. But I understand the sign-up rates have improved over the last 5 years, right?
Yes, they have improved I think in 2010 it was closer to 30%. Now we're up to, according to the latest figure from the California Food Policy Advocates, the county's at 47.6% of potentially eligible folks.
And that's enrollment in food stamps, so almost 50%.
Stamps, sure.
So it's gone up a little,
yeah,
but not a whole lot.
Yeah, they've definitely made some progress, but we're still at a point where over half of the folks that are likely eligible are not enrolled, and so there's still, huge room for improvement.
Do you know why county enrollment in these safety net programs haven't seen that big jump of improvement that we need?
Our focus in the report is really looking at the numbers and revisiting that. I think that's really the next step, is for, especially for the county, working together with the community groups that convene to raise this issue, to really understand what's not working and what needs to change to make that happen. And so that's part of what we're calling on the county, to really provide the resources and the leadership to figure that out.
Sure. Now, other counties in the state seem to have figured this out. What are the numbers like there? How do we compare?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's other counties that enroll over 70% of folks. San Bernardino County is one of the other large counties that enrolls a significantly higher share. Even here nearby, Imperial County does much better than we do as a share of eligible people, even though they're a much smaller county. I think that's one place that we can turn to, is look at other counties that are more successful and try to understand what the best practices are there. Let's
talk about this impact of these people not being enrolled, not getting the federal funds for these programs, and the effect it has on San Diego's economy. How does it impact us here?
Right. So obviously, beyond the needy families missing out on these benefits, the dollars that pay for these benefits are overwhelmingly federal and state dollars. And so what that means is we're missing out on an infusion of money from outside the region into our region, which would help grow the economy. So it's, as you mentioned, over $700 million in direct benefits that would go to families. And that, with that spending, generates over $900 million, so nearly $1 billion in economic activity in the region. That creates over 6,000 jobs. That generates $4.7 million in new sales tax revenues every year. So, basically, in terms of our economic development, we typically would jump at any chance to bring hundreds of millions of dollars into the region from outside the region. And we feel like, given that context and the need of the struggling families, that the county really needs to step up and do everything that it can.
No, you touched on this, but does all of the money for programs like CalFresh and Medi-Cal, does that all come from federal and state?
The overwhelming majority of it does. For CalWORKs, a small share comes from the county. So essentially, for adding additional applicants, about 2.5% of the benefits would be paid by the county. Additionally, the county does share in some of the program administration costs. But for CalFresh, for example, every dollar that goes into beneficiaries' pockets comes from the state or federal government.
Well, groups behind this report, there were a coalition of groups. They're calling on the county supervisors, of course, to take action on this. Has the county responded?
We haven't heard any response from the county yet at this point.
And what would you like to see the county supervisors do? I know this report is about what's actually happening here and sort of comparisons, but is there something you'd like to see how they could use this report?
What I really hope is that this really starts a conversation, that that the county, what we call on the county supervisors to do is to set a goal of full enrollment by 2020, and to provide the resources to study the problem and understand what steps they need to start taking. So, putting the resources, working with the community groups, but setting that goal of full enrollment and not leaving those dollars on the table.
All right, Peter Brownell, thank you so much.
Thank you.